Insta fans, what's up? You know it's your girl Suzette Speaks coming to you on IGTV. Thank you so much for watching. If you love empowerment of women, make sure you like and make sure you share and comment. I'm bringing you dynamic women who I admire. And today my special guest is Miss Ruby Green. She is running for Public Defender of Broward County, Florida. We're coming to you live from Traywoods Park. If you ever heard of Butterfly World, if you're from South Florida, you know where we are. Lakeside, trying to give you some South Florida vibes. And we're always encouraging you to chase the real you. That's my new book coming out, y'all. Don't worry, it's coming out soon. So, Ruby Green, hi. How are you?
I'm great.
The Insta love, I know y'all commenting, right? Y'all commenting.
Yes.
We wanted to bring you Ruby because she's taking on a huge role. First of all, it's not easy to run for office. Second of all, it's not easy to change the justice system.
No.
So we're going to talk a little bit about both. So Ruby is an attorney who grew up where?
I grew up in Pompano Beach, Florida.
All right, Pompano, in a more specifically.
Shout out Collier City.
Collier City in the building. And for guys, if you don't know Pompano, it has a very wide range of kind of a demographic, but Collier City tends to be what would be considered much more economically challenged.
Right.
So you grew up with how many brothers and sisters?
I have 15 brothers and sisters.
Yo! Crazy, right?
It's crazy.
I was like, do they still do that? Yes, they do. So your mom worked very hard, but she didn't have a chance to pursue her education. Tell me about that.
No, my mom actually had to work in the fields when she was young. So she
As in planting and crops?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she was picking strawberries.
Wow.
You
And
know,
people
different
don't
from
know
cotton.
that. Exactly. But it's still very much a kind of a similar labor. South Florida is the South.
Yeah.
And even though we get, metropolitan props, for a long time down here, it was farmland.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that came out of the system of slavery and sharecropping ended up still working as I would say farm workers.
Yeah.
So your mom did that for a long time.
Yeah, she did that for a long time. My dad did too.
Wow.
Both of them. Yeah.
So here in Pompano, or in Pompano?
Homestead.
In Homestead.
Area. Yeah.
Wow. So did you grow up with dreams of wanting to go to college? Were you going to follow in their footsteps? What was your motivation when you were younger?
No, I honestly just wanted to live a good life. And my good life was I was going to work at McDonald's. I was going to become a manager. I thought that was like my peak.
Wow.
And
that's all you knew, really.
That's all I knew.
So you thought, okay, I got this job in high school at McDonald's, boy, it's going to take me to the next level.
Right.
And interestingly enough, you had some people that kind of opened and widened your perspective.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Right. So I didn't know what college was, and I did not have anyone in my life that had gone to college. So I went to Coral Springs High. And that's because we lived in a Starburst area. So the people really across the street from me had to go to Ely. But I lived in a Starburst area. So we got to choose between BA, like Coral Springs High and Coconut Creek.
So when you live in those type of areas, like you have a choice of school as opposed to being assigned to school.
Right.
So you got lucky.
Yeah.
You got a school that was more mixed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's gentrification, actually.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of gerrymandering going on in districting. So I don't even want. I don't even.
It's kind of like in a nutshell.
Right.
So you get to Coral Springs, and all of a sudden there's people that make more money than you, live a different lifestyle than you,
live a different lifestyle,
speak differently than you, and you're like, what's up?
Yeah, and
is this
everybody's
South
going
Florida?
around. Yeah, everybody's going around talking about college, and I'm like, huh? Like, what are you talking about? That costs money, right?
Right.
And I had a guidance counselor who was preparing everyone for their next steps. So in high school, as you're graduating, you normally should meet with a guidance counselor, and they should say, hey, this is what you're going to be doing, or this is what you should, be doing in order to prepare for college or whatever else you want to do.
Right.
And she told me that, hey, Ruby, you made really good grades. You should consider going to college. And
wow.
I did.
One person can make a difference, guys. Speak life.
Yeah.
Speak life. Yeah. So you get to college, you go to Florida State.
Florida State University.
Gators in the building. But we still love each other.
Yes, we do.
But,
we love each other.
So you go there, and what was that like for you? Transitioning from parents who had never gone to college. You were the
Right.
first in your family to
First
go to
in
college.
the family to grow.
What was that like?
Yeah, it was tough. Like it was a different adjustment period in my life. I had to meet people who came from similar situations, and I went through a program called CARE, Center for Academic Retention and Enrichment at Florida State University. So there were lots of students that were in the same situation for first generation college students.
Wow.
And I bonded with several of them, and that's what got me through.
So you weren't the only one.
I wasn't the only one.
Wow.
Right.
So at Florida State, you had a positive experience. So you decided to go to law school.
I did.
You had your first child while you were at Florida State,
I
and still graduated early.
Graduated early.
Don't tell tell me what you can't do.
Don't tell me.
So you go in, exactly, don't tell her. Okay? So you end up at Florida Coastal,
Yes.
Which is in Jacksonville.
Which is in Jacksonville.
Graduated there.
Yes.
And started your career at the PD office there,
Right.
public defender. So
Yes.
tell me, what does a public defender do for people who don't know?
So people who don't know what public defenders do, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you do. So we represent those who are called or labeled indigent, and that's for people who are considered poor or below the poverty line,
Yeah.
who in which we represent them for criminal cases.
Okay, so you're an attorney that is given to or assigned to people who are charged with a crime
Right.
when they can't afford it.
Yes.
Remember, if you can't afford an attorney, one will be assigned to you. You see it on Law and Order.
Yeah.
That's what your office was doing.
Yeah.
So what kind of cases did you work on when you were in Jacksonville?
When I was in Jacksonville, I worked on misdemeanors and Jimmy Rice cases.
Okay, and Jimmy Rice, for people who don't know Florida, literally legal folklore,
Yeah.
what does the Jimmy Rice unit deal with?
And it might sound scary or crazy that we represent sexual predators, but it's actually their civil rights aspect that we were
Due
protecting.
process, baby.
Right.
No matter what someone says
right.
you do, you need to have a fair hearing,
Right.
be heard, and be
Right.
administered by
Right.
court. So awesome.
Right.
So you get to back to Broward
Right.
after working first as a PD in Jacksonville.
Yes.
You come home.
Yes.
And tell us about your career here at the PD's office.
Well, I've been at this PD's office for 7.5 years. I've been a supervisor. I've been a chief in misdemeanor court, and now I am in career criminal.
Chief means you supervise, you oversee, you train, you hire, you get people assignments, you give them your caseload.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome.
All that and above.
Yes, I can imagine. So I want to know, especially now, your opinion on what you can do to change criminal justice. I'm assuming, obviously, I know her, but that she wants to change. What's up, Mr. Crow? Thank you. You want to change criminal justice from the inside out. Tell us
Yes.
about what plans you want to put in
Yes.
place to hopefully have an impact on the greater community in our society.
Well, I want to start by boosting morale at the office. We have phenomenal attorneys at the office, and I want to give them hope, and I want them to keep their passion for representing people who come from places in which, like me, like I could have been them.
Right.
And I also want to make sure that we're not creating a revolving door, that people who are released from custody, they have access to jobs, they have access to health care, they have access to housing, they have access to mental health and substance abuse treatment. And I also want to promote criminal justice reform. So those are my main goals.
In what way? Tell us about the reform part. I think this is important because it's been in the public discourse a lot,
Right.
that we're seeing a lot of black and brown people
Right.
disproportionately in the criminal justice system.
Right.
What can be changed in that regard?
Right.
How can you approach that?
It's sentencing, really. So we need to make sure that we're attacking the way that people are being sentenced. We see a lot of times that black people or people of color who are being sentenced twice as much for the same crime
Right.
that a white person has been.
Wow.
And so that's near and dear to my heart because I see it almost all the time. I've
Right.
even seen charges where someone who is Caucasian may have, weed or something like that, and they won't get charged.
Wow.
And then we will see a black person, same amount of weed, they'll get charged.
So
for the same crime.
so sentencing, and you guys are the stopgap. The public defender's office, if they're active, if they're good, and I know y'all got a lot of good attorneys over there.
Yeah.
We get a bad rap sometimes.
Yeah,
the
we get a
PD,
bad rap.
not me, but the PD's office does. But I really want y'all to get to know Ruby. I applaud you and admire you for stepping out there. It's not easy to be a woman to run for such a huge office, but anything is possible.
Anything's possible.
So when is your election? Next year?
Next year, the primaries is August 25th, 2020.
Awesome. And where can people find more information about
People
you?
can find more information about me on voterubygreen.com, Ruby Lenora Green on Facebook, Vote Ruby Lenora Green campaign on Facebook. Instagram is Vote Ruby Green, and Twitter is Vote Ruby Green, and Vote Green for change to be seen.
Okay, now y'all know she got that good old fashioned Lenora, Ruby Lenora Green. All right. Shout out to y'all for watching. Again, if you know of an interesting woman that's doing some big things, let me know. I would love to interview her. I'm your girl, Suzette Speaks, your hostess with the mostest, encouraging you to chase the real you. Bye, Insta.
Bye.
Wow, we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.